Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
No women, no kids.
The line must be drawn here.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
This week, we go into darkness with the new Star Trek film. Gerard Butler saves the day in Olympus Has Fallen, and our classic film of the week, The Room. It's Friday, May 17th, 2013, and welcome to the first edition of Skyward Movie Reviews.
You think your world is safe. It is an illusion.
J.J. Abrams is back at the helm as Captain Kirk, Spock, and the crew of the USS Enterprise face a most daunting adversary. First off, full disclosure, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, been since I was a little kid. Grew up mostly on The Next Generation, although I watched the original series, Deep Space Nine, all the TV shows and the movies. So when the first new Star Trek film came out in 2009, there was some slight trepidation on my part. Just because of some of the things that happened before the movie came out with the trailer, this isn't your grandfather or father Star Trek and all that stuff. The movie was great. It was a really good movie. It brought back a lot of, what the original series and the original films had done to make it popular. And there were a lot of instances where there were nods to the hardcore fans. Now, with this film, I've actually watched interviews with J.J. Abrams where he would say to the interviewer that this was not intended for the hardcore Trek fan. This was for general audiences. But I gotta tell you, after having seen this film, there were so many little tiny things that every hardcore Trek fan will instantly know, and some they probably won't without having to, go back and watch it several times. Bottom line, this was a fantastic movie. It was brilliantly done. The strategy they had beforehand with all of these trailers and preview clips, they lead you down a road and he's painting a picture. That's what I kept reminding myself on the trip back home last night after I watched the film. He really painted a very brilliant picture. And then when you actually sit there and watch the film and see the picture unfold in a way that you really didn't anticipate. Of course, there's a lot of references to former Trek lore, so to speak, in this film. Obviously, this is the same universe. It's just an alternate timeline. So there's going to be instances where there's going to be some duplication. But the way they do it in this film is absolutely fantastic. But enough about my Trek love. This film is not specifically made for people like me, although I am a general audiences kind of guy when it comes to most films. Not every film, but with most of them. And this film really is going to make non-Trek fans non-Trek fans are going to go crazy for this film. Trek fans, I think, even the ones that are vehemently against the whole Abrams direction for this film, will probably come around. It was very, very well done. I was very impressed with particular elements of the story. So, awesome movie. And to take away a little bit of my fandom of this film, I have to say, as objectively as I possibly can, it was brilliantly written. J.J. Abrams really knows how to tell a story. And despite the fact that it appears with all the promotion that this is just a wall-to-wall action film, it really is not. Now, a lot of you are expecting it not to be because that's just the way they make trailers these days. They tend to, put all the action in the trailer and then you go see the film and all of the action you've already seen. There's a lot of action in this film. It's warranted action, but it's not overdone in the slightest. It's just a fantastic story, brilliantly acted by everybody involved. And I highly recommend this to anybody that enjoys movies, whether you like Star Trek or whether you don't. This movie will draw you in. I'll tell you what, the audience for that film, I can tell you that 75% of them, and it was pretty full, probably, as of 4 years ago, never even thought to watch Star Trek before. So JJ doing his job, reinvigorating the franchise and making it popular again, for lack of a better term. So kudos to him for making a very, very good movie. And I tell you what, even if you're not a Star Trek fan, after seeing this movie, you know Star Wars is going to be pretty damn good. And I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan that there is, but after having seen this movie, the detail that it's crazy what they can do with special effects these days. It's even better than it was 4 years ago, and 4 years ago was great. It's just mind-blowing what they're able to do and what they're able to create. Fantastic movie. I'm not going to get into all the ratings and all that kind of stuff. I'll let other people do that. But thumbs up, for sure. Great movie. Go see it. You will not be disappointed.
Mr. President, 5 minutes, sir.
Evening, ma'am.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Mustang, this is Big Top, bringing out the full package.
Gerard Butler stars as a Secret Service agent tasked with more than just saving the day in this surprising, well-performed action film. Now, with this film, I remember actually talking to Daniel specifically about this film's trailer. The first trailer that came out for Olympus Has Fallen was absolutely terrible. It looked horrible. The editing was horrible. It just looked like a really cheesy action film. And it looked like it was just going to be one of those popcorny, maybe, you know, half-hearted type of movies. And by the time the second trailer came around, I was like, okay, that's a little bit better. They improved quite a bit on, you got nowhere to go but up, at least in my opinion. But at any rate, went to see this movie a few weeks ago. And I got to tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised. It was very good as a movie. The big thing I got to take away from this film, Gerard Butler, fantastic action actor, very entertaining, and I know a lot of people, when they either haven't seen this or have seen it, have understood the reference that it basically, at parts, is Die Hard in the White House, and it's very true. Now, I've never really had any sort of negative opinion about Gerard Butler as an actor or as an action actor, but really hadn't seen a whole lot of his work. I've seen the last half of 300, haven't seen the whole film. I know, terrible. But I went in with, you know, decent to low expectations of what this film was going to be anyway. And I was pleasantly surprised. Maybe that's why I was pleasantly surprised. But, I mean, obviously there's some things you can nitpick about the film. I think Aaron Eckhart's performance was a little uneven. He was a little bit unbelievable as the president. Really didn't seem like he was good in it, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't seem, you didn't get the feel that he was a president. He was kind of Gerard's buddy, you know. I mean, it wasn't really official in that sort of sense. Definitely not too young to be the president, just didn't feel presidential, I guess would be the lack of a better term. They worked very well together for what the movie needed, and but I think when you get to a point where you feel like the president can actually kick people's asses, you scale it back a little bit. But anyway, it's not supposed to be this ultra-realistic film, although the storyline is somewhat conceivable. It's a good movie. I would recommend it, and I am someone that does not blindly recommend just any sort of action movie. I'm actually pretty critical about certain action movies. If I end up going to see Fast 6, you'll definitely find out that, although who knows, maybe it'll be a good movie. Probably not. Anyway, but typically with action films, I'm not very particular unless they're done to a certain degree or they're realistic in approach. And yet one of my favorite movies of all time is Armageddon. Probably not the most believable story in the world. I'm a conundrum wrapped inside a box. What can I tell you? At any rate, go see this movie. I would recommend it if it's still in theaters. I know it's still in theaters here locally. It's been out for about a month and a half still. So check it out. Be sure when it comes out on DVD, grab it. It's definitely worth a rental or Netflix watch at the very least if it comes out on Netflix. So be sure to watch it. Morgan Freeman, fantastic. And I'm not sure of her name off the top of my head. The actress that plays one of the cabinet members. There's a scene in this film where she is tortured. It was heart-wrenching watching that. She did a fantastic job to sell it. I think people that will go without too many preconceived notions will enjoy it as well. And I would recommend you seeing it.
A Perfect World.
These are for you.
Thanks, honey. They're beautiful.
A Perfect Life.
I would do anything for my girl.
A simple love story full of betrayal, lust, and plenty of voiceovers in this week's Classic Film Review. Tommy Wiseau directs and stars in this over-the-top farce that has become a cult hit due to its underwhelming tones. Now, obviously, in this spot, the classic movie of the week is generally not going to be a terrible movie. It's probably going to be one of my favorites, one of a rare type of film that maybe not a lot of people have seen that I enjoy. But for the debut edition, I wanted to load this up with as much stuff as I possibly could, and this was the first one that came to mind. I think me and my brother have talked about it here and there, but this movie is terrible. It's absolutely horrific. The acting is just piss poor. The editing and the voiceovers are atrocious, but that's what makes it so hilarious. That's why people celebrate it, because it's just so horrible. Came out in 2003, I believe. Took the theaters by storm. I think the budget for this film was $6 million. Don't ask me where the heck it went. The sets are obviously sets. And the story just is all over the place and makes absolutely no sense. And by the end, you want to put yourself in the position that the main character's in when he blows his brains out.
Oh, hi, Mark.
But it's celebrated for being the absolute best, worst film of all time, pretty much. It's just so hilarious. You gotta check it out if you haven't yet. If you can find it someplace, I think they sell them on Amazon. It's worth a shot. Give this guy some money, I guess. Maybe he'll eventually make a movie that's decent, but I won't hold my breath. So that's the show this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll try to iron out some of the kinks. One thing about the set will be changing here and there. It's still a work in progress. So we'll be working more towards on that, making this look shiny and nice and all that. But hopefully, as the weeks progress, it'll turn into a decent show that you guys enjoy. Please leave a comment, subscribe, of course, like, share, do all that stuff. I love talking about movies, so don't be afraid to hit me up on the Twitter at Thomas Gidlow. Probably put it up there someplace. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. See you next week for Skyward Movie Reviews. I'm Thomas Gidlow. I don't have to sign off. Go to the movies. Run. See you at the movie. I don't know. Just ended already.